Welcome to Your Time to Thrive with personal fitness coach Jason Stevenson.
Hey everybody, welcome to Your Time to Thrive with health and wellness coach Jason Stevenson.
That guy.
That guy. I'm Ben. That's
guy.
Jay. That's Jay.
I'll be Jay. You be Ben.
You be Jay. I'll be the guy whose mind is going crazy. All right. So
just for today, though.
I'm just happy. Yes, just for today. I'm just happy that I'm only looking at one screen right now. Honestly. Anyway, how are you?
I'm doing great, man. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good now. The hardest part of my day is over, and I'm ready to go. That might not be true. There's another time tonight where I'm doing two shows at once. It doesn't matter. It's going well. How are you?
I'm on the same page, actually. I have a long early Wednesday morning, and then the rest of my day is a little bit easier. I have some other things to take care of, but the bulk of my work, just like you, there's still stuff to do.
Yeah.
But it's kind of nice that it's like there's that psychological question when you're eating a dinner plate and you have like the, veg, starch, protein. What do you eat first or what do you eat last? Are you one of those people that would eat the food that you like the least first? Or are you one of those people that eats what you like the least last?
I eat what I don't like first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely do. I'm so happy that this first part of these 3 pages of to-do things are done. Stoked.
Yeah. So that's what I mean. Like, you would rather get up and get it done and then have some time in the rest of the day to kind of get some other things done? Or are you one of those people that would rather get up?
Becky says that she was last. She saves the best for last. Thank you for clarifying.
Yes. There you go.
I was just going to say that I think that you save that you eat what you don't like last. Anyway, yes. Good to know, Becky. Thank you so much. And if you're watching and you want to leave a comment, please leave a comment. We'll put it up on screen. We'll make you a part of the show.
Damn right. Well, that's one of the principles of Thrivetrainingteam. You are all a part of the team because while we're all driving our own boats, we're all in the same ocean together.
Yeah.
We're all in the same team. So we need to watch out for each other and help each other and help. At least don't make it harder for somebody else to drive their boat. At the very least, like you don't have to go out there and help everybody or like put other people in front of you, but don't make it harder for somebody else to live their life.
What are we talking about today in general?
Going with that analogy on the boat, set the sail. It's camera. There we go. It's one of my tattoos. So it comes from the Serenity Prayer, and it's a paraphrase because for me, I didn't need to write the whole line permanently etched on my body, but it's because for me as well, it's that optimist. The phrase is you can curse the winds or set the sails. And as that relates to general in life, you can cry over spilt milk, right? Or you can just admit that the milk is already gone and spilled and we got to pick it up. So how do you deal with your life, right? How is your perspective helping you? Well, right? So that's the question. How are you dealing with life? Are you in charge of your life? Are you driving the boat, or are you just battening down the hatches and hoping the wind takes you where you want it to take you?
Just holding on, man.
Yeah?
Just holding on. No, I don't know. No, I actually, let me see where is it? I made a list.
Lists are good.
Yeah, I'm not going to show it in here because it's long, but it's 3 pages. So I was doing morning. We talked about morning routine recently, right?
Mm-hmm. That's a goal,
right? So I was doing the morning journaling and morning pages, and I was like, let's get some friggin' control over stuff, and let's and basically like let's map out what I want, and then map out how to get there. So the first page is things that I want, goals, and then the second page is a full list of, okay, so now how do I achieve these goals, and then a full page of that, and a lot of it is basically just taking control over your life, like taking control over your fitness, taking control over your finances, taking control over your mental happiness, like your mental state, your happiness, like a lot of it is how you perceive things, and but yeah, are you in control of your life? That's a great question, and it's a timely question for me this week.
I love it, man. It sounds like you're on a really good path with that, though.
Oh yeah, totally. I did this 2 days ago, and I haven't done a single thing on the list.
But you still have the list in front of you.
I do.
Right?
Yes.
So remember, that's part of all of this, right? Nobody's perfect. Nobody's going to get up today and get their entire list done. I mean, God bless you. Jesus, maybe your list isn't long enough if that's the case. But if you think that you're not succeeding just because you haven't achieved your aspirations or your goals or your list, or we're going to continue with the analogies here. I was told this when I was working in an office at one point. You're always going to have an inbox. Like, it's okay to have things that you can get to tomorrow. Yeah, I agree with that, Beck. The just having the list is a win. Yeah, so that's a step. Because before you didn't have a list, right? You didn't have a clear idea. And there's a lot of power in pen to paper, whether it's type to paper or pen to paper or pencil to paper or marker to paper. Like your writing implement is your choice, but there's a lot of power in putting down what you want to achieve. It's like we've talked about before, ask for help. So include somebody in your goals and your aspirations in your list. But the first step is a huge step to write that down, because you weren't just, I want A, B, C, and D. It was, these are steps that are necessary to get me there. Yep. It's a huge list.
Yeah, it's a massive list, and there are things that are on there that are little things that I actually have started, and yeah, so it's nice, and it is a nice thing, but in general, I think. So set the sails. In the morning pages before this, I talked about something that's seemingly really silly, but I think that it's a good analogy for what you're talking about. I was playing a soccer video game. Braden, who is 5, and his parents got me FIFA like 19 or something for my birthday last week. Nice. And Braden really wanted to play it, so we've been playing a lot of it, and I've been dominating, right? But and it was making
the 5-year-old. You're dominating the 5-year-old?
I was dominating everybody.
Just clarifying.
I was dominating everyone in the game. I was nailing it. And I started to play as this one team over and over again. And I had this one player who, Dave, like made a big deal about him being like the star of the team, and like, oh, I can't stop that guy. And I was like, okay. And then in my head, that became the narrative, that this guy was the star, right? So this guy is the star. So instead of playing the game as it presented itself, right? Instead of that, I kept trying to force it to this one player, to make this one player score all of my goals, for him to be the star, for whatever. And I got my ass kicked. And I got frustrated, because instead of going with what was happening, right, which was that a bunch of other people could have been open, whatever it was, instead of going with the flow of the thing, I was trying to force something, and when it wasn't working, I was cursing the wind instead of that. And then just by doing that, my entire essence around everything that was involved in the game changed. It wasn't fun anymore. I was mad about it. I couldn't control it. I couldn't control myself. I was mad at Dave. I got really mad because I was trying to narrow-mindedly fixate on one thing instead of that. And if I had just said, this isn't working in this game, go to something else. And that's a silly analogy because video games don't matter whatsoever. However, this was very easy because what I did when I put it down on paper was I went, that's an analogy for my entire life, right? Like, I love a narrative and I get fixated on that narrative, and then I try to force that thing, and then I don't pay attention to the way that the way that life is unfolding around me. And when it doesn't fit that narrative, I curse the wind.
Do you think a lot of people do that?
Everybody. Not everybody, but everybody.
Yeah.
At some point.
It's a piece of perspective, right?
Yeah.
So we've talked about that, optimistic perspective versus pessimistic versus realistic. I think that a piece of that is what you're talking about there is choice, right? So you can't choose what happens to you, right? So you can't change the fact that the wind blew in a certain direction. You might have been planning and headed in a particular direction, well, metaphorically speaking here, obviously, but whatever the circumstances are, whether it's a situation in an experience like that, and it could be a video game because it's obviously taught you a life lesson, so it's not a meaningless adventure. But if your perspective about the circumstances are immediately closed-minded and pessimistic and hinder your ability to see the potential or to see the other options, or for you in this circumstance, perfect example is to see the other players on the field, then you have missed the opportunities to continue to excel.
Right.
If the wind that you're using as you're sailing, if you're using a particular wind and you want to go in that particular direction, and then that wind changes, you have to adjust. You can yell about that all day long. Where'd the wind go? Or I want to go in that direction. But the truth is, you can always tack. You can always find more other options and more paths and continue to get to your destination. It may not be the path that you had initially expected. That's what I love about you setting up that list and having some of those follow-up pieces. Like, I want to achieve A, and these are the steps that I think now are necessary to get to A. But the fact is that they may be completely disconnected from reality, or they may be completely not connected to your potential reality in the future, because whatever choices you make right now change all of those circumstances. So those could be the great steps right now, but tomorrow something changes. You just have to adjust. That's it. You don't get rid of the concept of the future goal. You don't get rid of A just because the step that you thought you were going to take doesn't work, right? We adjust, set your sails again. It's a constant awareness, right?
Yep.
So did you go back into the game and play your way?
I did. And then, like everything, it needs consciousness. It happened again yesterday. I didn't do it. But the association of this is that it was an allegory for life, right? And that is something that I do all of the time in life. And I think that it's the video game is sort of a silly metaphor for it, but we do this all the time in our jobs, in our relationships, in things are, you want things to go a certain way, and when they don't go a certain way, you resist it and suffering is resisting what is, So if something isn't going the way that you want, if the wind is blowing in a different direction and you refuse to acknowledge the fact that that just is what it is now, the wind is blowing in a different direction, you can't change that. You can't do anything about the wind blowing in a different direction. You can't do anything about your job opportunity changing from what you wanted it to be. You can't do anything from your relationship situation being what you wanted it to be. Like, you have to meet things where they are. You have to deal with things the way that they are, and then set your sails in the direction that you need to go. Because going against the wind isn't going to do you any good. It's just going to create suffering.
Yes. So when you say adjust, it's internal, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We're talking about a mental process. We're not talking about if work. So I don't like this situation at work. Do I go into work and get the situation to change? Do I force other people to do things differently? Or is it my approach, my perspective, the way that I'm approaching things, the way that I'm addressing things? Right?
Yep.
Because I feel like that's one of the life lessons. It's one of the reasons that I've tattooed it, obviously. But I feel like that's a life lesson in my circumstances for my life. And it's come up multiple times in my life that whether it was with a boss or it was a relationship or it was just circumstances, that's empowering to me. Honestly, that's one of the reasons that I like it, because for a lot of people, they feel like they're dealing with life, like life happened to me. This happened to me and now I feel this way and now those things need to change. But the truth is, you are in control of all of that. You have the capacity to change the narrative in your head. That's that self-speak that we've talked about. That awareness is the power behind that, is to say, hey, you don't like the way that feels, you don't like the way that looks, you don't like the way that's going to go, then you have those choices to make. You can either change yourself or you can change where you are in those circumstances.
Yeah.
But that's the narrative, right? Because that you use that cavalierly for a lot of people. That concept of how I tell a story in my head about what's going on is a really big concept, but it's simply the narrative. It's just the way that you told that story.
Mm-hmm.
And what stories are you telling yourself?
How many times in life do we have a situation where we're working and you don't agree with your boss, or you think that you should have gotten a raise but you didn't and they did, someone else did, or you're in a relationship with someone and it's over, right? So like, if you're in a relationship and then all of a sudden it's over, and like you maybe you still want to be with them but they don't want to be with you, it's over. So you can like suffer through that. You didn't get the promotion. It's over. There's nothing externally that you can do about this situation. Before it ever gets to that point though, right? Before it ever gets to that point, learning to change your perspective would be extremely beneficial to, letting go of the outcome sometimes I think is a really big deal for me. Like, I can't let go of the end result is in my head way too much.
Yeah.
That's something that I think about all the time.
Well, so I think that's the part that gets people stuck. When we say set the sails, does that mean that I have control over the situation? Does that mean that I can completely control the outcome?
No.
Right. Like, so what are we saying when we say set the sails? Like, what are we trying to control at this perspective?
our perspective, what we do.
Yeah.
Right? If you're in a boat and the wind changes direction, and you, like, literally, if we want to take the analogy of set the sails, literally, like, that boat still might sink.
Yes.
That boat still might sink.
Yes.
But your best chance is to ride the wind.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not going to do you any good to go against it.
No, at the very least. I mean, you always have that choice. You can jump out of the boat. You know, if you really don't like where it's going and you know that this is going down and it's not going to end well, you could jump out of the boat. But at the very least, you have a fighting chance to go with where the power is going, to go with where life is going to go. You know, like you said, you have a choice to leave the job. You don't get the promotion. You can leave the job. If you decide that that is your outcome-based situation that you want to control, you have control over that. You can leave the job. Then you take on a whole new set of challenges and a whole new set of outcomes that you're going to have to deal with. But you have chosen that. You've chosen all of it. Because whatever it is, you tell yourself the story about how it went. Did you not get the promotion because your boss hates you? And because that other person is prettier, or that guy has got nicer hair, or whatever, you know, like what is the reason that you did not get that promotion? Is it nepotism? Is it just the logistics and the politics of the workplace? Or is it the merits? Is it because you just weren't the best person for that promotion and you lost the promotion? You might have done something in your past, or you might have done something unconsciously, but 9 times out of 10, you have complete control over your world. And at the very least, 100% of the time, you have control over your perspective on it. You have your control over how you're going to respond versus react to the realities that's presented to you. And then the beautiful thing is, and the reason that I feel that that's empowering, is from that step, from that moment where you decide, I'm going to stop cursing at things that I cannot change, and I'm going to take control over what I can. And that's the beauty of the Serenity Prayer in its simplicity, because in the set the sails analogy, you can only do that. You can only control the sails that are on your boat. That's all you have control over.
Megan says, I think maybe we need to look inside ourselves and question why we are feeling the way we are about the outcome or that loss, like internally. What is the root cause of that feeling that is coming up? Because chances are it's going to happen again. We don't win every day. There will be losses. Amen.
Yes. So there are those that believe that if you do not learn from your lessons and your universal lessons, you will continue to repeat them. That's why they say, if we don't learn from history, we're doomed to repeat history. The point is to be able to learn to adjust differently. You know, to carry this analogy all the way home here, the concept is, if the wind changes, then you have a choice of how you handle that. The truth is that if you're on the water and you're sailing a boat, there's ways of being able to forecast that a little bit. You know, one, you can watch the forecast, see where the winds are going. You can have instruments on your boat to help you understand where the wind's going, but there's also clues all around the boat. So if you're too stuck on your boat's focus, like if you're too stuck in your world and in your head, and you're not aware of what's going on around you to give you the clues as to when that wind is going to change, like, you shouldn't be surprised that you did not get that promotion. You shouldn't be surprised that your bags are packed on the front lawn in the relationship. Like, there was more signs than just that one trigger, you know? And granted, yeah, there's going to be a lightning bolt from the sky in somebody's world, but generally speaking, which is what we're doing here, yeah, God bless, no, not asking for a lightning bolt, but the idea is that there are signs around us. There are messages that you're getting from the people around you, and messages that you're getting from the people around you that are responding to you, that are helping you see where you are in your world, how you're functioning. You know, and we get so stuck in our me thing that like, my life, this is what I'm doing today, that we don't know that person that you passed by that was cursing as they walked past you, that you think that they were cursing at you, they've been having a shitty day 6 blocks ago. They've been cursing about something way before they got to you. And you can spend time being upset about that, or you can let that go and continue on your path. But pay attention to what's going on around you. Pay attention to what you have control of, because you have a lot of control. It's the most empowering piece that I ever picked up from that, because you can't change the wind, but you can control how you respond to it. You can control what you do with the information presented to you. And Ben's just smiling happily, speaking your language.
I like it. This has been a good episode.
You want to add anything to it?
No. I think I talked enough earlier. Megan has one more comment. Also, we don't celebrate others and look at it as something bad we did, rather than looking and celebrating others' wins.
Which makes the world go round. It makes somebody else's day better. That little piece is going to come back too. You throw somebody a lifeline, you throw somebody a positive comment, you throw somebody some love, and it's going to come back. We need more of that in this world. Like, manage your own boat, stay in your own path, but be conscious of other people. Understand that everybody's going to have wins and losses.
Yeah.
But we're all on the same team. We're all in the same ocean. It's not bumper boats, folks. It's not supposed to be. It's not supposed to be. It doesn't have to be.
I love it. I love these
Love
conversations.
Me too.
All right. Where can people find you?
Thrivetrainingteam.com. Check us out. If you have questions, shoot them as a private message at the bottom of every page. There's contact information. Even if it's not relating to health and wellness, I'll answer your questions. But if it is related to your health and wellness, give me a shout. Let me help. At the very least, we can help you get you further.
We can ask questions that aren't related to health and wellness. I got tons of them.
Oh, that's next episode. What else you want to talk about, buddy? What else you want to talk about?
Oh man, where do you get your beard trimmers? We'll go into it next week. We'll go into it next week. All right.
Love it.
Okay, have a good one, man.
You too, Ben. I'll see you soon, buddy.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
For more information, tips, and workouts of the day, check out thrivetrainingteam.com.